Okay, this is the first run on my Lee Loadmaster. I'm really excited about this progressive press. It's going to speed up my reloading. There's a little bit of a learning curve to it though, but this whole setup with a shell feeder, bullet feeder, which is not on it, it was a little over 500 bucks. And equivalent Dillon, which is what I was really kind of looking at pretty hard because my uncle's got one and it seems to work real well. It was going to be like 1,300 bucks or more with the feeders. He's got a setup where you put your own shell and your own bullet in. It's a lot cheaper. Well, I don't know, they're probably 700 or 800 bucks, but just for that price, I got all the bells and whistles with this. I will say the press itself is pretty much ready to go, but the little attachments you buy, the feeders, the powder measure, the bullet loader, these all, you have to kind of set these up yourself and tweak them and make them fit right to work. This one actually didn't quite line up right, and you can see it's plastic and it's got one metal piece in it, couple metal pieces. This plastic piece here was cocked over a little bit too far when it would come out. Was not lining up with the cartridge just right, and actually I watched it though, and it would kind of bounce over and line up as the press went up, but one time it didn't, and the cartridge just chopped off part of it into the die. But this is probably like a $5 part, and next time when I have it bolted on, this bolts under your die, on your bullet seating die. I'm going to take some pliers and tweak it so that when this is extended, it's lined up just right. But other than that, it was working pretty good for as much plastic that is in it. I'm surprised it seems to work pretty well. And stuff like this, there's not a lot of force on. You really don't have to have steel or aluminum or pot metal. Plastic pretty much is self-lubricating. It doesn't rust, doesn't corrode. Anyway, I'm running it without the bullet feeder. And there's different bullet feeders for different diameter bullets, different lengths bullets. And the die holder will come out. So once you set these, you can leave them set. Pop in a replacement die holder, and you don't have to change your settings once you're set up. That's the big pain, is getting ready to set up just right. And then once you have it set up, you can just crank these things out. I'm reloading some old bullets. It's got this old waxy lube on it, and they're all sticky and it's kind of getting all the shells. It wipes off though, but it's kind of a mess, and that will jam up or stick in your tube also if you get too much of that. But I think nowadays there are other lubes that are slick finished instead of tacky. But anyway, I got it set up. Oh, and the shell plates. I got a shell plate for 44 mag. Got a 9mm, 223 or 300 blackout, which is what I got. 45, a 357. I got all that with this too. And I already had the dies because I had another press. And I'd used one of these before, so I was used to this. I don't like this though because it gives you a fixed amount of powder. It's not infinitely adjustable. However, once you put in the correct capacity disc, it's not going to change on you. You don't have to worry about it changing or coming out of adjustment. So I'm doing a load that's not quite as powerful as I want. I want a full, full power, but I'm gonna be a little short of it, but that'll be okay. As long as they're all got the same amount of powder, same crimp, same bullet seat length, they should shoot pretty well. But anyway, let's see here. And then with any press, don't stop in the middle of the stroke. Go all the way down till it's finished. Because when it's all the way down, it is seating a primer. And then you got to bring it all the way back up to index the carousel, shell carrier. Anyway, so here I got a bullet. I don't know if you can see this from there. Setting a bullet on the case, bring it down. See, all the way seated. When that happens, this little thing here rattled on the way up, keeps the primers fed. It's a pretty neat system. You load primers in it. You don't have to use a primer tube. You just put your primers in it from the primer tray. Shake it around till they're all upright. Close the lid, put it in place. I really like it. That's better than Dillon, in my opinion. You don't have to fiddle around with your primers. Okay, so anyway, let's see, where am I? So the powder was fed, the primer seated. Every station's fully up. This is the decapper and sizer. I need to get a universal decapper. Then I can put the decapper sizer on station 2, so when it primes, it'll hold the shell in. I had twice I've had, well, one time was my fault, because I didn't have the little lever in that was holding the shell correctly, and the shell kind of mislocated, and the primer didn't feed correctly. But I'm going to get that later, and that should help. Anyway, okay, so coming down, bring it down. Boom, another one comes off. There's a lot of stuff going on with this. See, the automatic shell feeder works pretty good. I'm impressed with that. Oops, almost forgot. And I'm looking at every cartridge before I put the bullet over it. I'm looking at it to make sure there's powder in it. I'm doing enough powder. I'm not going to get a double charge, but I always look and make sure there's something in there, so I don't get a squib load, which won't hurt anything, but it's embarrassing. The squib load ain't as embarrassing as shooting a hole in a roof or in the floor, or shooting any major appliances. I'm just kind of going easy here. I've got a pretty solid table. I got this just C-clamped down because I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to locate it. I got a fairly sturdy little table, and I added a piece of plywood to the top. And I built this plywood mount here. And if once I decide where I'm going to put it, I'm going to probably just bolt it down. But I don't know, so I might just stay with C-clamps. I got C-clamps on it, so it don't move too much. I got my table legs need even out. I need to put a shim under one of my legs. My table's rocking a little bit because it's missing a shim under one leg. I think when I get that shimmed up, I think it would be pretty rock solid. And never stop in the middle of a stroke, all the way down. Otherwise, you get the primers be jacked up, or you might not have a full load of powder. Come all the way down, or you won't index. And these here, if you can see, it's got that old lube. These bullets are, I don't know how old they are. They were $5 for 100. They're probably 30 years old. get that gummy crap on them, but I'm gonna wipe them down and put them in a box. But I think they're gonna make some nice shooting. I got the semi-wide cutters. My idea here is if I shoot a paper target, I can see it, or if I want to shoot a plate or something or hunt, I'm set. Kind of an all-purpose round. And I spent like 2 days putting this together. They're looking at it little by little. When you start this, just put one shell in it and go about doing whatever you're checking. Don't put your feeders on, don't put your bullet feeder on, don't put your powder in. Just do a dry run, and then when you do start to run it, put one shell and just run one shell through it. And make sure and get your crimp, your bullet seat right. Make sure your primer's seated right, the crimp's right, bullet depth is right. Use a gauge or fit it in your gun. Make sure it slides it down your gun okay. This die is a carbide factory crimp die. It's got a carbide sleeve in it, and so after it does its crimp, when you pull the shell out, it sort of resizes it if a shell has maybe bulged from the crimp. So I don't have to worry about it fitting. But gotta check the nose also. If you have a large bullet or longer load. Let's see, I'm trying to think of something else about this. I don't know. I'm gonna change this though, I think, and get the adjustable powder measure instead of the disc. I'll have to see. I do have a double disc kit. You put longer screws in here, and you can use 2 discs, and then use a combination of just in case. Where's my? Yeah, in case you've never seen these little discs go in there. Powder drops in different size cavities. There's small ones, medium, large, extra large. You got the biggest ones in there right now. The largest size it's got is not quite big enough for a full 44 load. But you can put 2 of them, stack 2 of them, and then with your different combinations, you can get a lot closer. But I think they err on the side of caution and considering the variables. You're not going to get the powder that it says you're going to get, probably. I mean, I'm not. I'm getting 16.6 to 17 grains. And I'm supposed to be getting 18.4 grains. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be getting 18.2 grains. So it's always a little on the small side. So measure it out and you get the next larger one, and it'll probably be exactly what you want. But of course, you do all this on your own cognizance of what you're doing, and check your loads with a scale. Don't buy calculations. Measure it out. I got a little cheap scale also here, an expensive scale, and I've got a little digital scale that will measure grains that I use and I check. And I think this powder measure, once it's used and gets a lot of powder through it, that powder will leave a graphite film, and it may let it flow a little better. Okay, let's see what else. I think that's about it. Let me as you see here, you can pretty much do this hour fast. You can stick a bullet in there. So there's, I just ran out of shells. I wasn't paying attention. I knew something didn't sound right. car or any other machine, when you run it, you listen to the noise and you go by the feel. And after you do it a while, you don't even think about it. If something don't sound right or don't feel right, you're gonna know when you stop. Just starting out like I'm doing, I gotta focus and really think hard about it, especially while I'm talking. But once you get doing this and get in a rhythm, I think it's gonna be pretty quick. And this here, you shake this, throw your tubes, your shells in here and shake it, and they'll self-fill on there, really quick and easy. I just pulled out my screw. Okay, I'm gonna put a bolt in back. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put a 1/4-inch bolt in the back of this baby. I'm getting down on it to make sure everything's seated right. And I think that was seated right. Let's see here. I think it is. It's really, looks like it's seated. Let's see. Yeah, okay. It's there, okay. Ripped up. Okay, I'm gonna got to fix that. That's why I spent 3 days working on this, and I'm just now getting to where I'm starting production. I probably got almost 50 loaded here. Yeah, it's gonna be fast. Okay, thanks for watching.